old Earth is crashing. We are entering the craziest and the most changeable times of our entire lifetimes. And this equinox season is going to be the peak. So here is a psychic forecast for March and April and Spring Equinox 2025, or Autumn Equinox if you're down under. Will the Trump-Musk plan fail? We'll talk about that along with some other predictions for the very near future as well. We'll talk about some past predictions that have come true as a point of reference and what that means to us moving forward. So I'm going to be working a lot with my notes. Glasses go on. And firstly, before I go into the predictions, I was doing some channeling work the other day, and Spirit came through and just told me that the earth was going to shake in March. That could mean there's going to be a lot of earthquake or seismic activity, but it could also mean there's going to be some earth-changing or earth-shaking changes going on in the geopolitical structure of our entire planet. So we'll get into that in more detail. Firstly, though, I just want to say we're not here to scare anybody. This is not about doom and gloom. This is an awakening. This is good news, but it's challenging. So we want to make you aware, to help you to prepare, not to scare, just to make that clear. And this is the time of global awakening. The spiritual ascension is spiking, and the old systems just have to fall because they're not sustainable in these new energies, so that new earth and the new, more positive beginnings can rise up in its place. And also understand that timelines are fluid, and the idea is the more that we can awaken, the more that we can raise our vibration individually as well as collectively. Well, if we do that individually, that affects the collective. The smoother the changes are going to be, the less people that have to suffer. Timelines are fluid. Not every prediction is going to come true, because if we change the now, we change the trends in the future also. So let's be as positive as we can be in the now. So firstly, let me grab some water. Lots to talk about here. We told you that Donald Trump was going to be elected as the 47th president of the United States, and that the inauguration would happen on time, when others were predicting different things. And even before he got elected, we told you that he was going to get in, he was going to take some super swift action, and we were going to see the 2.0 version of Trump. And we said this before that that expression was in circulation, by the way. So I'm not saying I'm the first one that said that, but we did pick up on that before all this happened. So I'm hopeful that that helped you guys prepare, because it was pretty shocking what happened. He exceeded even my expectations, if the truth be told. So let's see, what else do we have here? Negotiations. So this is going a little bit into Donald Trump, that the negotiation with Canada to avoid tariffs and further rifts, I do see that progressing. I don't feel like the tariffs, at least in their present form, will happen. We told you before February that the tariffs were not going to roll out the way that they were being proposed, and certainly that's what's been happening. We feel that there's going to be some more agreement and cooperation amongst Canada and Mexico and some of our neighbors, basically. And we also see the negotiations with Russia and Ukraine continuing, leading to a ceasefire. There may be some ups and downs, as well as the Middle East and other things. We also see some big changes in currency happening. The economy, as we predicted, for February and March, was going to undergo some drastic changes, and we're seeing that. We're seeing that already in February. That's going to continue, and we also see a movement towards abolishing the federal income tax here in the U.S. I do believe that that's already been outlined and getting ready to be proposed to the House and the Senate. Now, that's not an act that he can just sign into law. That actually does have to go through the House and the Senate. So we see that. We see. I'll talk a little bit more about Musk and Trump later on when I talk about the Stargate agenda. but basically, to put it in a nutshell, and I'm going to have, once we get into closer to March, I'm going to have a lot more detail on the March psychic forecast. So I'm kind of going through things more generally in this forecast, just to let you know. But there are some specific predictions, so hang in there. But anyway, so we'll talk more about that. So let me move on to a few other things. We told you from the beginning of the Medium channel over 4 years ago that this time right now would be the time of the collapse of the old Earth. That the corruption was going to be revealed on a grand scale. Lots was going to be exposed. And we're seeing that playing out to the next level over these next few months, basically. This is the time of the great shaking. We warned you through channeling session about this, and I'm hearing that expression a lot. I think I said that already. But this is the time. This is the great shaking that's happening now. And I'm hearing more and more teachers talking about that now. Societies, we know it, will fall. And basically the societies we know it is built on a house of cards, on the weak foundation of greed, power over others, and things that can't sustain it until the big bad wolf, and in this case, or maybe the big bad coyote named Donald Trump, depending on your tape, blows it all down. There's just no going. Those of us that are doing this spiritual work, we're going to thrive through these changes. Yeah, it may be uncomfortable, there may be sacrifices, but those of us that are doing the work, we're going to thrive through these changes. We're going to have the ascension. We're going to come into that 5D consciousness, that multidimensional consciousness, and we're going to take our rightful place. The meek shall inherit the earth as the new earth leaders, the way showers, and so forth. So what else? I'm seeing global economic shifts. The map changes. Countries' borders changing. We'll start to see that coming up. We told you about the air disasters before the first one happened. So we made that prediction before the first one in Washington, and several more have happened. We told you about the sky anomalies, before the first crashes, before the first drones. And what we see going forward is a new style of drones starting to get sighted. More information coming out about that. At least 2 more major plane crashes coming, so hang in there with that. Unexplainable sky anomalies, especially towards the equinox, even at the end of February, even before March. I think we're going to see that, maybe more solar flares. Things that can't be explained that are going on in the sky. Spike in UFOs, extraterrestrial contact. And I think something groundbreaking around the equinox, maybe later March, a groundbreaking either exposure or communication or sightings. Also, not to change the subject too fast, but I want to get through all this in a timely manner. Pacific tsunamis, watch Japan. A lot of energy around Japan for some reason. And I was just happened to find a video from Joseph Tittle, who's a great psychic, talking a lot about Japan also. So I'm seeing a lot of energy changing there. I'll say the Pacific in general, like the Southeast Pacific. A lot of changes, possible earthquakes, tsunamis. We also told you before February, that's part of the February psychic forecast, of a lot of increase in seismic activity to watch the area around Greece and Italy. So you've probably heard there's been a series of earthquakes, and 3 of the islands in Greece had to be evacuated just within the last week or two. And I do believe that activity is going to increase. And worldwide, I do believe earthquake, volcano activity is going to be increasing. And we could get a very large one, unusual northeast. Okay. Oh, earthquakes, volcano activity increases. And also watch out for Oklahoma. That's been highlighted as well for some reason. We may get a big earthquake or something big happening around Oklahoma, I want to say as well, or that general area. We also told you about, things about like unusual severe weather in February. There's been a lot of tornadoes in both the Tornado Alley and Dixie Alley this month, and a lot of severe weather and flooding. that's only going to increase. Sorry to say, but that's part of the Earth changes. Mother Earth herself is shifting, and that's going to lead to, you know, what did I say? Earthquakes, volcanoes, as well as crazy weather. Um, and of course, this can happen anywhere. I'm seeing, unfortunately, another big fire that could impact another major city or metropolitan area, as well as supplies being held back. More severe weather, strange sinkholes. This is something new that I was just seeing a lot of strange sinkholes. That's when like the earth just sinks and buildings and cars fall into the earth. Some of that could be related to subterranean activity, like tunnels exploding, that go on underground, whether it's extraterrestrials or inner earth beings, or the child trafficking tunnels being bombed or something like that, or if it's natural or a combination there. I do believe in the next couple of months we're going to see a lot of news of sinkholes, basically. Also, lots of demonstrations. Washington, D.C., or a government building in any state may have to get sealed off for a little bit. Maybe the United Nations also. Expect a lot of demonstrations. I'm also feeling like there's one or two terrorist attacks and maybe domestic terrorists. That could happen anywhere in any major city, any major port. But for some reason, they're saying to keep an eye on Chicago and Toronto with that. News of underground revolution surfacing, freedom fighters. That's been going on for a while. We're going to hear more about these groups. Some of them may be supporting the president. It may not be. I'll get back to that in a second. Terrorist attack possible. All right, we said that already. Going to page 5. The virtual end to the fiat currency. That would be a good thing, though the reset may be a little bit tough in the economy. So that's just currency that doesn't have a backing like a gold standard or something like that. So we see movements these next couple of months to creating gold-backed or metal-backed currency. We see new cryptos in this and other countries. Russia, Japan, other countries may also have their own version of new cryptocurrencies. Exchange rates changing. Stock market very volatile. Crypto market very volatile. Exposure of crypto scams, globalist agendas, involving money laundering, price gouging, and manipulating currencies in order to centralize and control things. Usually the agenda is to get more money out of our pockets into their pockets so they can control us even further. And we told you of economic crash and reset that's happening now. And it will recover, but in a new direction later in the year. Interest rates lowered, possibly to try to stimulate the economy, maybe later in February, more likely March to April. Possible stimulus packages, though I think they'd be small. I could see maybe like $200 checks going out to everybody as part of the victory of exposing so much corruption in the government and so much money and everything like that. So interest rates lower, also that. So not switching the subject a little bit, I'm seeing a lot of frauds being exposed, including spiritual teachers or so-called spiritual teachers. So I think there's going to be a lot of people that are giving you information on YouTube and social media that are being exposed that they don't know what they're doing or saying, as well as some world-recognized leaders, so keep an eye on that also. For some reason, I've seen South Africa in the news. I'm not sure why yet. On a different note, I do feel like a lot of gold and diamond mines are being discovered. Greenland, as the glaciers melt, that exposes bare ground. Lots and lots of wealth. Silver shortages may not be that far off, so investing in silver may be a really smart thing. Huge discoveries, breakthroughs include free alternative energy, medical breakthroughs, mRNA vaccine exposures. Montana's proposing a law to outlaw all of the mRNA vaccines, including the new cancer vaccines that are coming in. Basically, COVID vaccines agendas come into more light, basically, also as part of that. So we know that part of the the exposure of corruption hits the pharmaceuticals, information that was withheld from the public about possible side effects and dangers of these new medicines, and inadequate testing, yet they were approved on experimental basis, emergency experimental basis for children also without adequate testing. And we're starting to see a long laundry list of potential side effects with the mRNA vaccines. Plus it alters the genetics, it alters our DNA. And it's actually a lead-in to more sophisticated forms of transhumanism or interfacing technology with biology. So there's that as well. So the Trump-Musk agenda is coming under lots of scrutiny. What's behind the agenda, what's behind the agenda, that's really going to probably be well known, or at least partially known by May. Are they propagating the globalist agenda to centralize world government, exert greater control, create AI networks, create an oligarchy, a technocratic society leading to transhumanism, as some of these moves would suggest? Are they doing what they're doing to seize more world dominance? Or are they the freedom fighters that some people believe and that some suggest, bringing down the deep state? We're going to have more answers to this, and it may not be so black and white and cut and dry, but we do see more things happening, more cuts happening, more stuff getting exposed. We do get deeper into Elon Musk's dealings with the technology, with Social Security and stuff like that. And we start to have some answers soon. But no matter what the motivation is or what's behind it, as I've been saying for over 10 years now, Donald Trump is going to be and is becoming the major catalyst for exposure and change. We'll know soon enough if he's the hero or the villain in the story, but it is happening. So what I encourage you, and I'm not here to take sides, certainly I have my own views and opinions, but I don't want this to be that kind of a video. I want to present the information for you, my intelligent viewers, to maybe add to your knowledge base so that you can understand what's going on and make your own decisions and act accordingly. But no matter what your political leanings, my advice is to stay open-minded, because we don't know the truth. All lines of communication are now corrupt. Social media, and the media is being brought down. The pharmaceuticals, the tech companies, all that's being brought down because it's corrupt and it's causing great suffering, and just at the benefit of a minute few. So I suggest stay open, no matter if you hate him or love him. Try to stay open, because we don't know the whole truth. But be vigilant, because we don't know the whole truth, especially if you're all in on the MAGA agenda. Stay vigilant, because some of the movements suggest that it's not what it appears to be. Again, that's all I'm going to say about it. Just stay open and vigilant. We'll know the truth about that. Now, I don't see the plan failing, so I don't see the Musk and Trump agenda failing per se. But I do feel like it is going to be modified, and it's going to change course in some direction. But I think the overall plan is going to move forward. And yeah, we can't stop what's coming. AI is coming. The whole idea is to understand maybe, who's programming AI, who trained AI. Is it the same people that want to centralize everything, that rewrote history, that wants to manipulate the thinking of the masses like the media? Or are we going to awaken, and higher mind and higher intelligences program artificial intelligence with more spiritual intelligence? So remember this is a spiritual revolution we're in right now. Spirituality is the globalist movement's worst nightmare, because as people awaken, they're not going to be able to get away with it. So there's a lot of attacks. There's even frequency attacks against us going on. So and we have to understand also that the natural frequencies on the planet are getting stronger. The cosmic frequencies, the energies, whatever you want to call it. So as that's getting stronger, it's increasing the energies through us. It's catalyzing awakening, but it's also catalyzing huge changes on the planet. So all this that's happening on the earth is a reflection of the spiritual changes, the collective upgrades, and things have to fall before they can be rebuilt on a stronger foundation of love and community and power for the people, by the people, rather, over the people. This will all lead to the new earth, the golden age of humanity, but the old has to fall first. The shadows, individually and collectively, have to fall. So we can't take the old stories, traumas, and dramas, our old selves into the new earth. It's just not going to happen. So now's the time to double down on your shadow integration work. Work with the heart. Work with heart-brain coherence. We have videos for that. Double down on your meditation and your presence. Try not to get so fearful and worried about what's going on. Understand God's Spirit, Source is in charge. And even though it's tough and it's challenging, we're here to awaken, and it's going to get better. This is the passage into the new earth of the golden age. It's going to get better. Trust and do the work and raise your vibration. And I'm going to actually, on Thursday, do a video on some breath techniques that you can work. And that'll be on the end screen of this video after Thursday evening. But I'll put it on this side for a change. We'll post a video on 25 top predictions for 2025 in 12 minutes, so you can check out that video next. Again, I'm only touching on a few things. There's a lot more. We'll dive into more detail later this month into March with the live stream to more predictions. I love you. See you at the next video.